I'd like to start off by commending Mr. Winslow's family for sitting here and listening to what I have to say, what my family had to say, as I can't even imagine how difficult it must be to look at me, let alone hear me speak. I completely understand how you can abhor me, hate me, despise me, and rightfully so. I don't blame you guys. I humbly come here before you all today, and I would like to state that the purpose of what I'm about to say is not to ask for leniency on my sentence. My sole purpose is to express my deep remorse of this horrific tragedy that labels an even more horrible crime. But more than anything is for the family to hear me out, as I was never given the chance to. Nobody is going to object to what I'm saying. Nobody is going to say that what I have to say is irrelevant or hearsay. To stand here and to try to describe to you my pain and my agony for what occurred would be futile on my part. But I can say this: my sorries are never going to be enough or bring back Mr. Winslow. Just speaking about this brings me an overwhelming sense of sorrow. My anguish is compounded by the fact that I was at fault for someone else losing their life. Every day for the rest of my life is a constant reminder. It's never going to go away, and it will haunt me for the rest of my days. I'm living a nightmare, and I know you guys are too. This is the worst burden to carry that I honestly wouldn't wish this pain and suffering on my worst enemy. I torment myself every day with the guilt. I need you to know that if it were in my power to switch places with him, I would. I will always wish that. There is nothing I can do about it, and God knows I wish I could. My life will never suffice and pay back Mr. Winslow's life, and that right there is so hard to bear. The one thing I can do, though, is to turn this dreadful tragedy into something positive, regardless of where I am, by giving myself a purpose in this life. My new and made purpose, and it is a goal that I've already begun to meet, is to raise awareness to others about the consequences of drinking and driving, and about addictions, period, the self-medicating and pacifying pain. That everyone makes mistakes, but I can give people hope that you can still change. When I hear people coming in for DUIs, I make it my job to go out of my way to speak to them. I cannot let Mr. Winslow's lost life be in vain. I cannot and won't let it. If I can at least save one life out there from all this, it's something. I was made an example by the justice system, but I won't be exemplary by being labeled for a worse crime than what was actually committed. Don't get me wrong, I take full responsibility for my actions and past, but I am not a murderer. I am now put in the same category as a cold-blooded murderer. That is not what happened. There was no malice or forethought. I caused an accident, but it was not on purpose or with conscious disregard for human life. I was drunk, that I can't even remember the collision.
You weren't drunk when you started driving.
I was drunk during the accident.
You were drunk during the accident. You weren't drunk when you started to drive. And when you started to drive, you knew that there would be alcohol served at the place you were going.
I am not trying to justify my actions.
Okay, go ahead.
I did. I made the choice to drink and drive, and that was the stupidest decision I could have ever made. But I've never meant to hurt anyone. It is not in my nature. I have no idea I had hurt someone. I would have gone back to help. I remember looking back and not seeing a car. I would never have left him there like that. It was labeled as a murder, but I am not a murderer. The only thing that brought me a form of satisfaction by being found guilty is that I knew the family would find a measure of contentment in me being found guilty for a higher crime. It's the least that could have been done, as I still don't see it as justice. And I know it can't be justice for the family as well. Once again, my life will never be enough for his life, and I am so sorry for that. I deserve punishment. I want it and accept it. This is the least of my concerns, having to go to prison. God knows my heart. He knows the truth. He knows how I feel. I should have made better choices that night, but I can't sit here and dwell on what I should have done anymore. It should have been me. Because of my choices, someone lost their life. I pray for God's forgiveness and mercy on me daily. I want you to know that I pray for the whole family every single day and will continue to. I not only took someone you loved, but I brought grief, pain, and so much suffering to your family as well as my own too. My pain comes from your pain. I hurt for you all so much. My prayers are always for God to ease your heartache, for you to be able to find comfort in God, God's word, and hope in his promises, as I've been able to do now. My whole life, my mother and family tried to instill God's word and principles for my own benefit. But I've now have come to truly accept him after all this. My mom never okayed any of my actions. She had no idea. None of my family did. My family never condoned what I did, and they're only here today because they love me, not because of my behavior. One last thing. My confidence is in God's promises and future of the dead being resurrected and living a life for all eternity. I pray and trust that Mr. Winslow will come back to life one day and be reunited with you all, his loved ones. Believe that. My biggest desire is for you guys to finally find closure and peace and comfort. The only thing that keeps me going is that I myself will be able to give him a hug one day too and apologize to him personally. I know I may sound crazy, but if you are a true Christian and believer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Mr. Winslow sounded like an amazing husband, father, son, uncle, brother, and I am so sorry that he won't be able to be a grandfather to his own children. I am sorry from the bottom of my heart for taking him from you. I don't expect forgiveness from you, but I do pray one day that you will find it in your heart to accept my apology. I personally conform myself with just being her.
Again,